Okay, so this is a 3D mover for some of the newer style Real D mounts and some of the homemade mounts where we've had to mount without attaching to the projector. So this will be on something that's on a stand. So first of all, as you can tell, I've removed the whole XL carriage from the projector. I've removed the 3D box and I've brought it away because you can't do it on site or on the spot. I've removed the jack screws that raise and lower from the underside. They're held in the circlets and they will they'll be in the way, so we need to remove them. And now we have to remove this top deck. So on the thin side, on the front, you're going to remove a circlet from one side of this metal rod. And if you haven't done circlets before, be super careful. Get a thin, small screwdriver, pry it out just so that it comes away as together and gently, and put your fingers on it because it's going to go flying, and if you lose it, it's no fun. So I've already taken this one off, so I'm going to slide that out. Now I can remove the upper deck. Okay, and now where we need to be. So first I'm going to put the riser and actuator holder in place, which go like this. Now these things here, they've actually got threaded holes in them. So if you do need to bolt this back down again, because you won't be able to use the original holes because our bolts are in the way. So if you need to bolt this back down again, this has actually threaded holes in it. I'll show you this sec here. They're slightly offset. You can see they're actually slightly offset. So you have to loosen up the Allen screws on one of these plastic blocks, make it a little bit wider so that it fits, and then it'll be okay. So we want the indented side to face upward because we're going to hide our screw that way. And we're going to need the longer screws for this one with no washers. So they just go straight in. Okay. Okay, so put it back. Now we're going to remove on the thicker side where you can actually see the actuator mounting bracket is. We need to mount this plate. So in order to do that, there's 4 screws here. Typically I put black ones in because I couldn't find the 4. Take these out, get rid of them. You're not going to need the silver screws again. So now we want the longer screw with a flat washer and a lock washer on it. We want 4 of them. So as you see, we've got 4. Then we take this. This is where the plastic blocks fall off. We'll hold this up. Put one of the blocks back in place. Line up the holes and get a screw started like this. Okay, one for the other side. Plastic block. Just be aware these blocks are plastic. I know you've worked with them, and they you can strip them quite easily. And since you've got this thing apart, now is an excellent time to make sure that they're all lined up properly. We're going to do that in a second. So there's that. Don't snug them down because I'll show you how to align them. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I would normally loosen these up 30 straight. These are still loose. Slide it until it hits the side there, so that the blocks are now perfectly square. And now you tighten it. If you have any binding, and these things are sometimes hard to push, I find the front blocks get loose and they're really hard to get to. So now is the best time to double check these screws and make sure those are snug. So again, make contact, make sure it's square again, and that'll just give you a better transit. Okay. Oh, that one is good. There you go. Okay, so now we are going to mount the actuator bracket. So we're going to loosen these up. These T-nuts, they got a funny little ridge on them, and what happens when you tighten them is they actually force their way into the aluminum and damage it, but it holds them in place nicely. The reason I'm telling you this is that you can actually loosen them up and try to slide something and it won't slide because the little T-nuts are actually embedded. So if that's the case, you just give the screw a little tap, a little push, give it a little shake, it'll come loose again. So for now, I'm going to push this out roughly to its limit. Give these guys a little bit of a snug because we might have to move it, so if we snug it down, it might not be as fun to move it later. Okay, so that's mounted. We've got to put our actuator bracket in place. So it faces, the flat side faces towards the actuator, which will be the other side. And for this one, we need a short screw and a lock washer, just a split washer. We need 2 of them. Now you can snug this thing down because it's going to be the end of its travel. We adjust that with the other 2 screws. Oh. Short screw, flat or split washer. There we go. Try to make it square, obviously. Okay, so that's in. So now we flip it back and we can mount our actuator. So on one end, the thick end, turn so you can see. There we go. This close clothespin goes in. This and then this one mounts the same. So now we got to adjust it, as you see. So what we're going to do is loosen up these 2. Just loosening the screws that hold the rail onto the aluminum plate. And you can see it's locked now. I've got to loosen it some more. So now it slides. And just get it lined up by eye, get it close as you can. And then snug one of these down. Okay, so now you snugged one down. What I'm going to do is place it upside down, remove the actuator, and tighten up the other ones. So that can be tight, and these guys also. So now when we put it back together, it'll be all good. So, actuator, pin, and pin. Okay, and what we've done is we put a couple of extra T-nuts and some short bolts in here so that you can mount your control box on the back side here. Like this. The screwdriver's too long. And my screwdriver's too long. It's forcing the screw to buckle, so it's not going in square. Okay, but anyway, get the point. You mount the box there. I'm not going to energize this one. I'm just going to explain. You run your Phoenix connector from the motor into the box here. It can only go in one place. You run your power, and you got your DB15 cables. Normally there's a DB15 that goes up to the 3D box. You're going to unplug that, plug it into here, and then plug another cable that we're sending you from here up to the 3D box, because this is just a parallel throughput. If you find the thing's going in the wrong direction, going to 2D instead of 3D, you want to reverse that black and red wire in this Phoenix connector so it goes the opposite direction. And the jumpers here are for speed and a little bit longer timing, which you shouldn't have to touch. Then obviously put it back together, align everything, arrange everything, and if you did everything well, it's working.